6:30, so I'm going to call the Willmar City Council meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Osk.
Here.
Councilmember Nelson.
Here.
Gilbertson.
Here.
Gardner.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Butterfield.
Here.
And Schultes.
Here.
Mayor Reese and Councilmember Fagerly are excused, so I have 7 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Are there any proposed additions or deletions to the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Osk.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
And Schultes.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. Clerk Larson, will you present the consent agenda to us this evening?
Mayor Pro Temp and council members, tonight for your approval, I have the City Council minutes of July 21st, 2025, the Board of Zoning Appeal meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025 as a draft, the Board of Zoning Appeal minutes of June 30th, 2025, the Willmar Municipal Utility Commission minutes of July 28th, 2025, the Willmar Police Civil Service Commission minutes from May 19th, 25, the Willmar Airport FFA Grant Agreement Runway 3/31 equipment, accept and final project for number 2401A 10th Street Northwest reconstruction, introduction of an ordinance amending ordinance number 1533, a rescheduled for the public hearing, the Church of St. Mary's lawful gambling application, and the accounts payable report from 7/17/25 to 7/30/25.
Thank you. Council members, anything that you would like to consider separate from the rest of this? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Nelson.
I don't want to pull them, but I'm just curious why we're just getting the Willmar Police Civil Service Commission minutes from May 19th and why we haven't gotten them earlier. Chief.
I didn't realize they hadn't been presented in, so we'll make sure they get more timely.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
And Mayor Pro Temp Osk.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
Motion passes. Anyone speaking for the open forum this evening? All right. Then we'll move into regular business. The first item tonight is the consideration of the KCED budget. And so Director Carr, Barbara, welcome. I believe this is your first time appearing before the Willmar City Council.
This is my first time, so thank you for having me. And I wanted to first say hello to some of you that I haven't met before, and I look forward to getting a chance to spend some time with you. I've been here since April 16th, and there's been a lot of different changes that have happened within the organization, but I'm really excited to just share with you today the budget. I'm going to pull that up here real quick. So I'm Barbara Carr, I'm the Executive Director for KCED, and our organization's been around since, you tell me, 2003, I think is when we originally changed to KCED's current joint powers between the City of Willmar and the County of Candy, Ohio. And we've set up our mission to be a catalyst for economic growth for the greater Candio County area. That's what it currently states, and I know that that's been some discussion that maybe we'll discuss further as we go into our strategic planning. But ultimately, the work that we do for the area is to meet with site selectors and developers, connect them to suited areas for development, work with property owners for redevelopment, business attraction, and our focus is on advocacy, recruitment, and retention, building collaborative relationships, education, and technical assistance. We do that in a number of different ways. We work with businesses and industry development, and we promote those developments of new industry and support existing businesses, particularly in the ag innovation. Today, we had a meeting with our broadband and advanced technology to talk about the areas where there's gaps within the county and the really excellent work that they've done to make sure that we've brought in as much broadband as we can to the area, and we'll continue to do that. And we also assist in creating and retaining workforce, and we do that in a number of different ways. We work with housing, we work with training, and we work with childcare initiatives. And so that's kind of our current focus area. We're looking at the industrial development, housing, workforce, broadband, the Elevate Community Business Academy that we'll continue to do, and then the marketing overall of the Candido County. But the other thing that we plan to do going forward is to create our new strategic plan. Ours will end at the end of 2026. So this is kind of a timeline for when we're going to be gathering information, a kickoff meeting, focus groups, and conversations that we hope will include many of you that are here in this room. And then at the end of that, we'll have our final plan to discuss with you. And that's part of our plan starting in January. This came out today, workforce and economic development, just an overall changes that are happening with the funding that's available at the state level. We're seeing cuts in business and community development programs at DEED of overall 6.5 million. We're seeing job creation fund going down about 6 million, and we're seeing about a $2 million cut in redevelopment grant programs. The child care grants are maintaining as a base fund, but this is just to give you an overall picture of some of the future grant funds that may or may not be available to us. And we've been discussing this with many of our partners about how can we provide a more regional economic development path for receiving those funds versus applying them directly on our own. So some of the work that's been happening has been to increase the number of childcare providers that have been in the area. We've got an event planned on August 26th and 28th up in the Spicer area where we'll be doing an appreciation event for the childcare providers that we have. And then we have a staff member who works in our office that provides the mentorship. And just in general, these are the committees that we have at KCED. They include the agriculture and renewable energy, again, broadband, business retention and expansion with a focus on childcare. We work with the Highway 23 Coalition. We do a number of different workforce development, finance committee reviews revolving loans, and our marketing and public relations is happening right now up at Farm Fest, but there's also some other activities that we're planning going forward into the 2026 year, which will be a lot more focus on how can we fill the vacant spaces that might be in our industrial sites that we have here in the city of Willmar. And this is just in general some of the things that we also contribute to. We give funds to the Central Minnesota Tour of Manufacturing that'll happen in October. We provide some funding for the Vision 2040. We also provide some funding to the tourism, and that all comes out of our budget. We also do some professional services. We work with the city on a couple of different projects that we're working on to move some infrastructure and provide some grant funds. And I hid a lot of my slides because I didn't want to take up a lot of your time, but I know that you've received a handout that has our 2026 in a comparison to our 2025, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Council members, any questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Gardner.
Good evening. 2026 is dramatically reduced from 2025. Is that just strictly related to the grants
It is.
that were received, and you don't anticipate those same grants in 2026?
That's right. We're seeing that there's a reduction in the grants that are available, and I did not want our budget to reflect anything other than what we believe we have available to us to run the operations of the organization. So if we do receive the grants, obviously that's going to improve our ability to provide the programs that we'd like to do, and we plan to continue to work with our partners to apply for those grants.
What's the impact on those receiving organizations? I mean, that was a pretty substantial amount of money.
It's the way that we operate is projects, so it's project-based. So for instance, the childcare grants that we've distributed one year in 2023, it was forgivable loans where we provided up to 40 childcare providers some forgivable loans. In 2024, we did a couple grants that we just closed out in June 30th, which would have been up in Atwater area and out at Prairie Woods. And those were to provide additional spaces for childcare. And then we have grant funds that will end at the end of December for the childcare. One will be up in the Spicer area that we're still determining exactly how to spend those dollars. And then the other is in New London for childcare facility that's going to be in Peace Lutheran. So a lot of the projects we come together with somebody who has an idea, we review their budget, and then we discuss how will you meet the 50% match, or we may have some people that have helped to provide that match, and we can move forward with providing them with the funds.
Thank you.
Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you. I think you saw that you have a relationship with UCAP. What do you do with them, or what do we do with them?
That's a great question. So we have a fractional relationship. We have Tana for a couple days or a percentage of her time where she provides mentorship to childcare providers. And then she's also running a couple programs for us. One is she works with Real Food, and childcare providers can receive a box of fresh produce, and we're using some grant funds to cover that cost so that the food that's coming into the childcare is healthy, and it's coming from our local farmers.
So that's still available next year.
She's still going to be an employee for us, even though our grant funds will end in December. We signed a 2-year contract with her in March, and so we'll finish out this year and next year, and then we'll find out where we're at. But we really love having Tana in the office. She's a great asset to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed 2026 budget for the Candiota County and City of Willmar Economic Development Commission.
Second. It's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Osk.
Aye.
And Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
That motion is approved. Barbara, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time
thank
tonight.
you.
And over the years that I've been part of the city council, anytime we see someone in your position, it's always good news for the city. It means that there's growth and development. So come back soon and often. We look forward to seeing you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Director Corbett, you are next on our agenda this evening.
All right, good evening, Mayor Pro Temp and members of the council. In front of you tonight is your consideration to approve by resolution the variance request by Marcus Construction. And this site is also known as Legacy Commons on First Street. And this one was, typically speaking, the Board of Zoning Appeals would meet on this, and they did both on June 30th as well as July 22nd. They were unable to come to a decision, so they did refer this matter to City Council, and that's why it's in front of you today. The property was previously granted similar parking variance on Monongalia, so this street just south of here. What we're looking for today from the application is a variance request for 2nd Street Southwest. And so some of the comments that came out of the Board of Zoning Appeals on June 30th was from the neighbors basically wanting to know the interaction between residential property and a commercial property. By right, the site and the developer can have egress and ingress onto 2nd Street. But because of those comments that were raised during the public hearing at the Board of Zoning Appeal, Marcus Construction went back and re-examined the way that the layout was, and they're proposing an entrance and exit onto Monongalia without disturbing residential properties on Second Street. In today's packet, you're going to see a resolution, a drafted resolution to approve or deny the variance request. The Board of Zoning Appeals packet is also identified with minutes that were approved from our June 30th minutes. And then tonight, you all just approved the July 22nd minutes in the consent, under consent agenda items. The resolution has some attachments, so the parcel has the legal description there, the findings of fact for supporting or denying a variance request, an affidavit for the mailing that was done for the public notice, as well as the variance application, as well as the public hearing. And then we have the approved site plan. I want to take just a second and take a look at what was being proposed at June 30th, at our June 30th meeting. You'll see that on the east side of the lot here, if you can see that, that's the proposed fast food restaurant. The drive-through, or this is a pickup window, I should clarify. It is not where a customer will come and order their food, but perhaps using a mobile app or so will just come pick up their order that's already placed. By right, again, they can enter and exit or exit onto Second Street. But because of the comments that were gathered on the 30th, Marcus did go back and redesign the site, and this is the site that we're seeing now. So you'll see that traffic comes in, and then it loops out and comes onto on Monongalia. So the setback that they're requesting is to eliminate the 15 and go to 5 feet. So here you'll have a smaller buffer here. And then this is fencing and soft landscape to soften it. So think of the headlights that possibly, if nothing was there, would be impacting residents nearby. Just a few things to mention at the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. All of the minutes that you approved and you have access to, those reflect the board members' position on it, as well as some of the public comment that was documented too. We did have a board member who, there's only 2 members, I should stress that too. So there's only 2 members on the Board of Zoning Appeals. One of the members live in pretty close a distance, and that person felt that they couldn't technically really vote on it. We understand that, and that's part of the reason this is made it to City Council too. I'll stop there and ask for any questions. We have Marcus Construction here as well, and they can answer any other questions you may have too.
All right, council members, what do you desire to do with the variance request that is before us this evening? Councilmember Gilbertson.
Mayor Pro Tem, curious on the design. It looks like there's a door on the west side of the property. Is that employee only? Is that customers that will be coming in now that pass-through will be going in front of that door?
Yeah, so the door that you're referring on the west side would be an employee-only door there. And so by code, you have to have an exit as well. And so that would be accessed by the employees. And then the main entrance where the guests would come would be on the east side.
Okay.
Councilmember Butterfield.
On the corner of Second Street where you got the parking there, La Force, how far away is that going to be from the city sidewalk?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have the exact answer. You can kind of see the property line there, which is in the dotted line there. And so we're at least 5 feet off of that sidewalk.
From the sidewalk, okay.
It's almost like 10. It'll be similar distance how it is on Monongalia, if you're thinking of Caribou, and the distance between
Right.
the parking spaces there.
Councilmember Nelson.
I'm just curious, did you lose parking spots by redoing it this way?
You know, we were able to maintain the parking spots. You know, certainly the configuration change, you know, with the pickup window coming around that west side, we had to create a little bit more space just to make sure people could come in and out, but we were able to maintain. I think we lost one spot possibly by doing it.
Okay. I'm also curious, I would see myself coming out and still going down Second Street to come out and go that way versus going probably back the other direction. And so I'm just curious about, I think I saw something about a stop sign and some of those types of things. Is that something that'll be determined once traffic studies are done, just like we do on other intersections, or?
No, luckily, thank you for the question, Councilperson Nelson. Luckily, we have completed the Safe Streets for All. This is our Safe Streets for All plan. It identified Second Street as being a parcel that we can start in installing a stop sign. And so that was a memo to both Public Works as well as our city engineer. And we feel that if approved or not approved, we will move forward with that and be later this year, probably provide you all with more of a comprehensive list of other intersections to control.
Okay. Also curious, this isn't the first place on Second Street when you go down the streets. So I'm just curious about the concern, because there are other businesses and food trucks and other things that are on Second Street. So just wondering why it seems to be a little different.
A little different in which way? If you could-
Just a concern about exiting onto Second Street.
Well, by right, the developer can exit onto Second Street. That's the pickup window, that drive-through. That can go onto Second Street. But because we heard from residents nearby their concern of having an increased traffic coming directly on from a commercial property to a residential street, they were able to maneuver the drive to come out on Monongalia instead. So,
So this is your recommendation to approve this?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Schultes.
I'm just curious on the green space, the soft space. Will the store be responsible for maintaining that then, or?
Yeah, absolutely. That's, would all be the management of Legacy Commons there to maintain. And I'll note, as far as the fence and landscaping goes, the city of Willmar doesn't have a fencing or a landscaping plan requirement, and that's something that we'd be open to putting a condition on, just kind of in cooperation with the neighborhood, but making sure that we're meeting the, what the intent of what we're saying we're gonna do on that side too.
Councilmember Butterfield.
Just from looking at where you got the proposed fence, that would only probably be 2 houses across the street that would probably be affected by the car lights.
I think it'd be probably three houses, possibly 2 or 3, yeah.
Councilmember Gilbertson.
Motion to approve the variance as requested by Marcus Construction for the development known as Legacy Commons.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further conversation? Councilmember Davis.
I just have a comment. I want to thank you for changing your plans, even though you could have technically put your driveway out on Second Street. Thank you for changing, and thank you for bringing business to our city.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you to the department too for working through that process.
And I'll say the appeals board did a great job too. It was great to hear from the public, and it was, the appeals board did a great job, and hopefully if there's people out there that are interested in joining a board, the appeals board could use a few more people, and it's a great way to kind of take a step into either planning and zoning or just being active in the city, so.
Roll call.
Councilmember Gardner.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Osk.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
And Gilbertson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Vokey, you've got a couple change orders for us this evening.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. First item, 9C, is related to the Technology Drive Improvements Project. As you indicated, this is a change order for additional signage and striping, which has been requested by management at Midwest Technology Campus. There's a figure included in your packet this evening that identifies the additional signage and striping that will be completed. And management felt that it would better direct patrons and existing business employees to their locations during the project. We have reviewed this, and it is being presented to you this evening for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions, comments, motion? Go ahead, Councilmember Gardner.
Mr. Vogie,
Good evening.
is this a normal part of a change order for when we're rerouting traffic like this for private businesses to come and request signage that adds funding to the project or adds cost to the project?
Oftentimes, we do see that businesses request additional signage. The plans themselves, this is what's referred to as a state aid project. So the project was designed according to state aid standards. Management, like I mentioned, management at Midwest did request some additional signage. We get this oftentimes on corridors or locations where there's a high volume of both employees and patrons at business locations. Typically, we don't include specific business names on signage because it can get excessively costly during the bidding process, and so we evaluate them on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments, or motion?
Move to approve change order number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
Schultes,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bosk,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Gilbertson,
Aye.
and Gardner.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
Motion passes. The next change order.
Next item is related to the First Street or Business Highway 71 improvement project. This is very similar to the change order that was just approved for Technology Drive. As you're aware, that project's under construction, and access to the businesses on the east side of the of Business 71. There is signage out there that and which was included in the project. However, a couple businesses along that frontage road reached out and indicated that they felt that additional signage would be of value to direct their patrons to them that might be coming from out of town and not familiar with the area. So the change order before you is for that additional signage to be installed at the along the project to direct them more clearly to their businesses as requested by those business owners.
Council,
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there any conversation, discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Butterfield,
Aye.
Schultes,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Bosk,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Gilbertson,
Aye.
Gardner,
Aye.
and Davis.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
The motion passes. Thank
Thanks,
you, Mr.
Council.
Bogie. All right, the last item under regular business is an application. Ms. Larson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Tonight, I have an application for approval from Leafline Labs LLC, doing business as Rise Willmar. They are in the process of applying for a combination license with the state. And so their intent is to sell medical marijuana, adult use cannabis, and THC products. The state has notified us that they are requesting zoning approval. Through the state's process, we have 30 days from notice to respond. Zoning has approved their site plan, and fire department did a inspection and they passed fire code. So we are looking for approval from the council tonight to approve their zoning of their property so they can continue with their application with the state. If we do not respond within the 30 days of notice, the state assumes that we approve have approved their zoning request, and they process their application or continue the application process, but, and we're about halfway through that 30-day notice, so tonight, I'm just looking for approval for that property.
All right, thank you. Council members, what is your desire?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any conversation?
With this approval, this will take up one of the 2 slots that are available?
No, it does not. A combination license does not factor into the 2 slots that we have for retail businesses. Medical specifically is on its own, according to ordinance, or according to state statute.
Other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Schultes,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Osk,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Gilbertson,
Aye.
Gardner,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
and Butterfield.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
That motion is approved. That concludes our regular business. Are there announcements from council members this evening? Oh, y'all are so quiet tonight. Councilmember Gilbertson.
Hope to see everybody out at Rockin' Robbins tomorrow night. And no more rain.
Yeah, it's the last one. Anything else? All right, the next agenda item is labor negotiation strategy, and under Minnesota statutes, section 13D3, subdivision 1, clause B. A portion of the meeting will be closed pursuant to the statute upon a duly approved motion of the city council. I will now entertain a motion to close this portion of our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Bosk,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Gilbertson,
Aye.
Gardner,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
and Schultes.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
It is 7:02 PM. The city council will now go into a